response to a video I watched last night that stuck with me about generational trauma and how Chris Eubank almost took a life and saved another. And it was in 1991 when Eubank was fighting a guy called Michael Watson, and Watson lost that fight. It was stopped, and during that and afterwards, he received this brain injury that left him nearly paralyzed, and it haunted Chris Eubank for years. And then decades later, he was seeing history repeating itself when his son was fighting another guy who was getting beat up badly. And the whole point of it was that there's trauma in boxing. There's trauma when you receive shots, but there's also trauma when you give the shots, when you give the punishment out. And I think a lot of people don't talk about that side of it. I haven't actually been in a boxing match, apart from some light sparring and stuff. But I know quite a lot about the sport. I've watched it a lot, and I've trained a lot in a boxing gym, and so I'm well aware of the issues in the sport. And anyway, I had an idea about maybe you could have a different category of boxing where headshots aren't allowed, similar to how some martial arts, they have different rule sets for competition. It could really be an interesting idea to explore, because it could potentially reduce the risk of head injuries while still allowing participants to compete in the sport. The great boxers would still, they'd still be winning, and it would still be a very exciting thing as far as I'm concerned. You can do a lot of damage by hitting someone in the body. You can win fights by hitting them hard to the body. But not everyone wants to get brain damage, and it would also open it up to people, because other people, in categories, this new category, that would open it up to a wider variety of people. People who don't want to get brain damage, and there will be some purists who are saying we shouldn't do this because it takes away the essence of the sport. It's more rules and regulations and stuff. But what I'm offering this as an alternative. It's an alternative category for people to do. There'll always be purists. The boxers, the MMA people, and even people who don't think there should be a single rule in the sport. But in my opinion, and sport, it's not like war where, well, it shouldn't be like a war where there's no rules, because athletes, the well-being of an athlete is important. I think it is a sport when it comes down to it, and if you can stop it before someone gets permanently injured, really, really badly for the rest of their life. I mean, surely that's a good thing to explore. But anyway, I'm happy to discuss this with anyone who wants to talk about it. But I almost don't really understand why there isn't this possibility of having a different category for this. Is it too much hassle for people, or do they think that it's going to be less exciting? Or I just think maybe some people feel a bit threatened by this, because they think, well, if we start doing this, then boxing proper with headshots is going to disappear. But it's one of these things that people maybe they sort of worried that it's going to take away their sport, and personally, I don't think it does, because it's still just really exciting. Like the whole essence is still really exciting. To me, it actually wouldn't bother me. Like I heard about this Tyson and Jake Paul, and how some people get upset because they're going to be wearing like head guards and big gloves and stuff. That actually doesn't bother me. A lot of people, maybe it's human nature. They want to see people getting smacked in the face proper. They don't want them wearing protection or whatever. But does it bother me if I watch like a gladiator movie and the fighters are wearing helmets and armor? Does that bother me? So why does it bother me if there are going to be, you know, some different rules? Like we're gonna play here. We're not gonna hit each other in the head. Okay, we're just gonna hit each other really really hard in the body. Say, I don't know. I don't know. This is just my thought of the day. Anyway, that's all I have for now.